Alrighty guys, so welcome back to my channel today, and we are doing a brand new Sims 4 speed build today. And so today I am doing a brand new build for my Sims 4 childhood build series, and I am doing the Disney Pixar Up house. And if you guys do not know what Disney Pixar, the movie Up is, where have you been? It's literally the best, most heartfelt, touching movie I have ever seen in my entire life. So if you have not seen it, I recommend that you go to your local movie store or whatever, or Amazon, buy it, rent it, watch it, and just come back to me and tell me how you feel about the film. Because that film is so touching, so realistic, and the story of it, the backstory and the real story in the film itself, both of them go hand in hand because the movie itself is based on a true story. And so whenever back in the day when I was researching this stuff about what really came to be, how this story really happened, how did Disney Pixar come up with the name of the film, how did they come up with the inspiration for it, and what I realized is that it's based on an actual person and how this person was just like Carl in the film. And I want to read you guys like the backstory of the film and also the real backstory of this actual person, the true story on how it came to be. So I will get into that later, but this house is actually up on the gallery for you guys to download. I did actually use custom content wallpaper on the exterior of the house. I will actually leave the custom content links in the description below of what wallpaper I use, so you guys can download for yourself. And I think it's kind of good. And I will also put a CC free build onto the gallery as well for this exact house using different wallpaper. And that's pretty much all I used. All I used was the wallpaper, and that was it, nothing else. And so when I was doing this okay, calm down. So back to what I was talking about earlier. So when I was doing the research about this, I was watching my friend Jen's video whenever she did the Disney Pixar Up house as well. I was watching her video and I got some inspiration from that, and I was like, hey, I want to do that build too, but I wanted to wait because I didn't really have the exact tools, the exact right objects, or the exact type of like inspiration to really do it. And so I waited, and what I did is I was really inspired to do it when I started making custom content a couple of months ago. And the first custom content piece I actually built or made was actually Carl and Ellie's mailbox, which you can see right here. It's basically the handprints and their names on it, and that's pretty much it. I'll leave the download link down below if you guys want to download that mailbox. It's pretty simple, pretty easy, and I love it a lot. But like I said, I was really inspired doing that mailbox, and I wanted to build their house until we had the right tools. And so when Sims 4 Cats and Dogs came out about literally yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, because when I went to Sims Camp, I saw the exact objects that I could use for this house. It was like the what's it called? The chair, and the footstool, and also like the fireplace, and literally everything in this house was basically what I needed in Sims 4 Cats and Dogs, and I finally have it. And so we have the shrink down tool and the customizable roofs, and it makes it so much better and so much easier for me to build this house. And building Disney Pixar houses in The Sims 4 is really, really hard because in the films, they're not really realistically built, and so there's no possible way for you to build a Disney Pixar house in The Sims 4 or in real life, actually, because it's too not real. So yeah, pretty much that's what it is. But yeah, like I said, it's pretty, really great. So if you guys have seen the Disney Pixar film, I would love to let you guys know that I love it, and I want you guys to share your thoughts about the film. Like, tell me in the comments below, what do you think about the film? I want to know what you guys, did you have like a personal connection to it? Did you have like some type of like feelings to it? I want to know your thoughts about the film a lot. So so when I was doing my research, I was searching up what was really happening. And I already said this already, but I want to say that it's based on a true person, based on a true story all the way through. And I realized that there's like this long description about this person, and there's a book about her as well. And it's so weird that I want to read it to you guys today, which I will. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read the description of the movie. and I have about, so at the 4-minute mark, I have to talk for until the 21-minute mark. So I have enough time to talk and explain some stuff too. So you have not seen the film yet. There might be some spoilers though, because I might express my feelings about the film too. So, just hold on to your hats, kids. So it said Carl Fredrickson, a 78-year-old balloon salesman, wow, that's weird, is about to fulfill a long life dream. Tying thousands of balloons to his house, he flies away to South American wilderness. But a Crudvin, only Carl's worst nightmare. Oh, his famous childhood sailor person came to be. So it said his worst nightmare came true when he discovers a little boy named Russell is a stowaway aboard of a balloon-powered house. So basically, if you don't know who Russell is, he's basically I wouldn't say what's it called? Girls? No, he's not. He's kind of like a Boy Scout, and he has all these badges. And what he has to do, he is basically assisting the elderly, and that's the only patch that he needs to complete his sash. And so he did it at the very end of the film. But with Russell, he basically said he was standing outside of his house to saying that he was like, okay, can I come in please? And he's basically a stowaway. They've been on this journey for about a couple of days now, and it's really weird, and it goes great in the end. It's all very heartfelt and very amazing. But at the beginning of the film was so, it was so amazing, where he met Carl met Ellie, and they were friends first, and then got married, and later down the line, they, as the older you get, the more physical problems that you have. And so what they were trying to, when they were in their younger, I think their mid-30s or whatever, or mid-20s or whatever. So what Carl and Ellie wanted to do is that they wanted to have children. And so when they went to the doctor, before that, they started painting this room in their house, a baby's room, so they can prepare for the baby and everything. But when they found out, I believe either way, I don't know if it was either that she couldn't conceive children, or she had a miscarriage. I believe that she had a miscarriage, because that's why she was crying. So when she found out that she had a miscarriage or whatever, it was during that time when Ellie had a sense of depression at a moment where she lost a child and didn't really think that her life could go on. And so Carl reminded her about her adventure book, where she wanted to go to Paradise Falls and live and land her house on Paradise Falls. And that's what they wanted to do. And so they had this little jar. They wanted to save up all their money to go fly there and just stay there for the rest of their lives. But life happens, repairing the cars, repairing the house and everything like that. They had to basically take the money out of their funds to fix and repair some stuff around the house to keep on going. And as time went on, Ellie actually had a problem. She actually had pancreatic cancer, and so it was upsetting, and I didn't like it, and she was in the hospital. It made me upset at the time, and I didn't like how it ended with her life. And so when that happened, she passed away. And so Carl, being the stubborn old man that he is, he's now a widower, that's a word, which it is. And so he was basically he was a single old man living in this big old house, refusing to sell his house to these construction workers. He basically refused $1 million. He basically refused $1 billion from this construction company to not remove his house, because what they want to do was to remove his house off the property so they can build this mall or this type of big old structure. But he refused all this money because he says, no, I don't want to move my house. I have to stay here. It's all mine. You can't make me move. And so it was really hard for him to really accept the saying he can't move on, and it's not going to happen. And so once he actually hit an old man, and he went to a court summons, and he was going to go to this elderly home. So once the people got to his doorstep, they basically walked to the van, and what Carl did, the little sneaky old man that he is, he basically said, "Who?" Opened up his roof to all these balloons, and his house like literally lifted off the ground and he started flying away, and it was hilarious. And then Russell was on his like porch, which I don't know how he ended up being on his porch, because what happened was that Russell was not on the porch when the house like flew up at all, and so it was like in mid-air of the film, and I'm like, wait, how did Russell get on the porch when I saw nothing on the porch when he like literally flew away? It made no sense to me, but you know, that's Disney Pixar and that's animation for you. You can do whatever you want in films and still go with it, which is great. And so when I was doing this build, I saw that Carl had this wheelchair going down his steps. And he had like all these picture frames all like staggered and rigid and everything like that. I wanted to replicate that with the stairwell, and it looks so cool. I like that way. And so I really wanted to make this house really, really, really detailed, like someone actually lived in it for so many years and had a passion to not move this house for so many years. And so that's what really kind of happened. You know, that was my vision. I wanted to make sure that this house was very detailed, very well lived in, and looked like someone actually lived in here for so many odd years. Anyway, so enough of the Disney Pixar storyline here. We're gonna go into the real storyline on how this Disney Pixar film came to be. So this website that I found was called My Music Den, and it had House from Up, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And so it was basically saying this 80-year-old woman refused to sell her home to a mall. What happened next is so touching. And that's basically the title of, you know, the article. And so when I saw that out, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So they basically took off 10 years. So Carl is 74. This lady is 84. And her name is actually Edith Macefield. And so it was pretty cool. So it says, in 2009, an animated movie, Up, took the world by storm, and it made me cry in theater, which it really did it literally did. And it's a heartwarming story about a man who, after his wife passed away, decided to honor her memory in the most touching way. One thing he might not realize, though, is that the house in the movie stands reluctant among the towering skyscrapers was based on a real house, and it was this house, which I'm going to show a picture right now, what the house looks like. And so it was, Edith Macefield wasn't any normal 80-year-old woman. She had a stubborn streak of defiance and was resulting in her refusing to sell her house to a development complex, which is true for Carl because that's what they were doing in the film. And it sounds familiar. Her house, standing among a giant shopping center buildings, was an inspiration for the house in Up, which is pretty cool. I like it. And so when this came to be for the complex in real life, is that there was this construction supervisor named Barry, which I think was the same person in the film who was talking to Carl at his front door or whatever. But basically there was this character named Barry in real life. Barry Martin, a construction supervisor, was working on the complex, going up around her house, slowly befriending Edith. And so basically Barry and Edith became friends. And so what Barry did is basically he took care of her at her old age and started becoming more friends with her and everything like that. As the older she got, the more I guess she had relied on her. And so it says, even as a young woman, Edith was remarkably strong. She would tell Barry stories about her past where she was so extraordinary he couldn't be sure if they were true. She said that she had been recruited by British intelligence as a music student and sent to Germany to spy on the Nazis, which is weird. I don't know why. But one thing was certainly true. She grew up to be a strong, resilient woman, which is pretty awesome. Like, she was a very musically talented person in her young age. But over time, Barry became closer and closer to Edith. He would give her rides to check on her, even made emergency visits if she wasn't feeling well. When asked about why she didn't want to move, she had an amazing answer, which is pretty good, which I love a lot. It says, where would I go? I don't have any family and this is my home. My mother died here on this very couch, which is very shocking. I came back to America from England to take care of her. She had made me a promise I would let her die at home and not in some facility. And I kept that promise. And this is where I want to die too. Right in my own home, on this couch. Edith would still receive calls from her house, but she would ignore them. She refused a $1 million She refused $1 million for her house. Over time, she became more and more dependent on Barry. Then she noticed she couldn't keep any weight on. He took her to the hospital. She had pancreatic cancer, which is, well, not awesome. It's basically the same thing what happened to Ellie in the film. She had pancreatic cancer, which is pancreas cancer. If you guys not know that, it's very, very common. I don't think it's really common though. It's very just, I don't like the word cancer. It makes me upset. She didn't fear it though. She had her house and her best friend Barry. There was nothing to fear. And so basically it says if you want to learn more about Edith and her house and all stuff like that, you can read the book about Under One Roof, which is available online, which is so cool. And so it says if Edith's strength and resilience inspired you, share the story with others, which I am doing right now, telling you guys about her story, and I love it. And so there's another tab that I wanted to read. Where is it at? There's another article about this, and it was this website called lifeadventures.me, which is weird. I don't know Life Adventures. I love it. It says I'm gonna read you a snippet of what this article says. It says when Barry Martin took on a role of a construction supervisor of a huge Seattle shopping complex, he never imagined that he would end up caring for Edith Wilson Macefield, a stubborn 80-year-old who refused $1 million for a developer to move house. Here's his description of his unlikely friendship. He didn't really know that they were going to become friends. And so this is basically what his description of their friendship. He says, I was nervous. That was my first day on the job. Walking up to her house, I heard so much already. The developers had brought every inch of block to build on, except for this one ramsackled house, so they were having to build around it. If anyone tried to talk to her, she would be more likely to bite their head off and then give them time of day, which is, don't mess with Edith Macefield or she will ruin your life. So it says Edith was tending her garden when I walked up to her. I introduced myself, Miss Macefield. I just want to let you know that we're going to be making a whole lot of noise and mess. So if you need anything or I have any problems, here's my number. And so he gave her his number. So, well, that's nice of you, she said, taking his card and holding it up close to her with her one good eye. I'm glad to have you here. It'll be nice to have company. Oh, so nice. So Edith's gate was 40 feet away from his trailer. So whenever I saw her outside, I found myself wandering over for a chat. And then one morning she rang my mobile and asked if I would mind driving her to the hairdresser. I was surprised by the request, as she seemed to value my independence above everything else. Whenever I went to check on her, she was okay. I had to make it look like I just happened to be there. Otherwise she would get angry, which is true. At the appointed time, I stood next to her 1980 blue Chevy Chevrolet. It was a sturdy car with a dent in the front. She had a booster seat on the driver's side, so she could see over the steering wheel. I sat down on it and hit my head on the inside of the roof. I guess you're a little bit bigger than me, she laughed. Yeah, and getting wider every year too. When I dropped her home after her haircut, she thanked me. Not a problem. Let me know if you need anything else. And Edith, her hair looks really nice. Oh gosh, there's a lot of talking here. As the weeks went by, I found it easier and easier to talk to Edith, yanking about everything and anything. But when 6 weeks later I went to collect her and take her to the hairdresser again, she was furious with me. I just wanted to know I didn't appreciate that call this morning. You boys keep hounding me to move. Well, I'm not moving and so save your breath. Like, I'm not moving so you save your freaking breath, bozo Barry. I had no idea what she was talking about. My friends over there at the developers, he tried to sound up polite, but I know what he was up to. Weird. That's wow, this is a lot. So she looked out the window. Where did I go? I didn't have any family. This is my home, and so forth. Same thing. How her mother died here on the couch. She wanted to die here as well. And so she seemed so frail and so strong at the same time, so vulnerable and needy, and yet so fiercely independent. I was moved by what she had told me and felt strangely protective of her. It was such a simple request. At another meeting of the developers offered to bring someone in to take pictures of her house so that they could build an exact replica somewhere else, which that could never happen. Because like, you cannot literally build an exact replica of a house that has been sitting here for over 100 years. That's not possible whatsoever. Like, the history, the time, and the whole persona about it, you cannot replace that. You can't replace the memories of what you cannot. You just can't. And so they mentioned about the 1 million to over 600,000 again, and said they would buy a new house for it. And I'm not sure why I need $1 million, Edith said. If I get sick, it will probably won't cover medical bills, and if I don't get sick, I won't need it. And that's probably true. And if you're going to make a new place just like this one, well, this place already looks just like this one, so why should I bother? Preach, Edith. Preach. I love Edith already so much. She's like that amazing woman that she's just amazing, and I just love her for that. Okay, but either way, I've talked my mouth off so much for this build. Oh, no, there's more. There is more for this build, because where does it go? Where'd it go? Here it is. So I looked up Edith Macefield on Wikipedia. Not really sure if this is true, but it says that on May 26, 2009, Disney publicists attached balloons to the roof of Macefield's house as a promotional tie-in to their film, the Disney film Up, in which aging the widower, voiced by Ed Ansher's house is similarly surrounded by a looming development. Scriptwriting and production on Up began in 2004, 2 years before Macefield's refusal to sell her property to the property developers. Okay, nice to know. I like that a lot. That's a pretty inspiring story. So if you guys want to read the book yourself, I would love for you guys to read it, because I might read it myself and actually buy it off of Amazon, just I can learn more about it. But if you guys have any other more requests or ideas for builds I should do in the near future based on a film or based on real life, let me know in the comments below. I would definitely love to build more houses that have a backstory to it, because it makes it more personal and more self-rewarding, I guess you would say, because I love telling stories and I love speaking the truth about how this story came to be and what it's all about, and it makes it so much more worthwhile. And you guys just make me so happy. You guys love watching my builds and you love listening to me, and it makes me so much more inspired to do more. So I just love it all. But anyway, so I'm gonna wrap up this video right here. Alrighty, I hope you guys actually enjoyed this build as much as I did. Let me think down in the comments below. As always, I will leave all the links down below, like the CC wallpaper links, and as well as the backstory links to this exact build in real life, so you guys can understand what is all going on. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys all in the very next video. Bye!